Shiro here from Umbra Games with a review of Blaster Master Zero, released originally on 3DS and Nintendo Switch in 2017, and ported to PC in 2019, PS4 in 2020, and Xbox in 2021. The game is a second reboot of the original Sunsoft Blaster Master released on NES in 1988. In the original game, if you haven't played it, you play as Jason, who chases his pet frog, Fred, who goes down a hole. And when Jason follows, he finds a tank named Sophia III, created to destroy mutants. This reboot follows that exact same path. Blaster Master is a combination of side-scrolling action platformer and overhead shooter. The world map is played side-scrolling while you're in Sophia, where you can roll around, jump, and shoot. You'll also encounter smaller passages that require you to hop out of your tank and have Jason walk or crawl to access new areas. You'll find doorways this way that only Jason can enter, and it begins the overhead shooter type sections. While in the tank, you can fire your normal gun, and you'll also discover special weapons that deplete the blue bar when used. Things like a spread of missiles or lightning shooting down from the tank to hit some targets on the ground. The bar does slowly regenerate. These new special weapons are one of the items that can be found during Jason's cave excursions, in addition to area maps and HP upgrades. During the overhead sections with Jason on foot, you can fire in 8 directions. Jason also has a set of unlockable secondary weapons that have to be restocked by picking up items in the dungeons. Jason's gun also works a little differently in that there's a sliding power bar. Each blue weapon pickup you grab adds another bar with another option for Jason's projectile, ending with an 8th crazy overpowered wave pattern gun. If you get hit, however, it does deplete this bar, leaving you less and less powerful weapons. You'll find caves that just have restockable life and power-ups, ones with upgrades, and this is also where you'll find area maps, and you'll also have boss encounters, sometimes waves of smaller enemies you've been seeing along the way, and other times giant bosses. The world map is open, and as such, you'll be coming back to areas as you get new power-ups for Sophia, enabling you to do things like hover or gain mobility while underwater. The game does auto-map where you've been both in the main areas and caves, and it's a well-done map showing where passages and doors and dungeons are. The game has 8 areas, and each is its own sort of biome, in appearance, enemies, and dangers, and there's a nice variety among them. There is a hidden 9th area and ending if you, what I'm guessing, reach 100% item collection? Something we did it. There were a couple instances where the game's controls were a tiny bit frustrating. Navigating underwater with both the tank and Jason on foot was difficult at times to be accurate. Also, firing diagonally while on foot seemed to often snap to one of the cardinal directions when you let go instead. Took a little bit of intentional and focused control and release to get there and fire while stationary. Dating back 20 years now, my buddy and I have gotten together almost every week and played games together, and when we do retro games, we'll knock out some one-player games, just pass the controller back and forth for fun. I assume that's what we'd be doing with this game, but it turns out there's a support co-op option for a second player. They can move a reticle around, firing on enemies, and while they're shooting, they're filling up bars around their reticle that enables them to drop power-ups for both Sophia and Jason in both modes. I personally thought it'd be a little boring to play second player, but he enjoyed it, providing the support role. Honestly, although his projectiles were fairly weak, relatively speaking, it probably did make the game a little too easy, having a godlike support player going through, especially contrasted to my memories of the original game, which was quite difficult. But we had fun. The game has a checkpoint system where you can roll through the save points and it'll quickly save your game. There are multiple save files you can use and choose from when you start the game. I do have to give this game some praise for its soundtrack too. From using that same Area 1 tune as the original game, plus the other chiptune songs, the team did a remarkable job with the quality. You do open some additional things upon completion, including a destroyer mode, which seems to be a harder difficulty, which probably would have been a better go for us in co-op had it been open at the beginning, and there's also a boss rush mode. We finished the game with 100% items, including the 9th stage and alternate ending, and clocked in around 7 hours. Overall, the game is a great tribute to the original, with more collectible upgrades, a useful mapping mechanism, more boss encounters, well-designed variety of areas where retreading isn't bad at all, a support co-op mode that makes the game a shade too easy, and actually, maybe this game might just be a bit too easy in general in the normal mode. Rated as a 2D item procedural, Blaster Master Zero receives a 65 out of 100 on my true 0 to 100 scale, where 50 is an average game. This is Jiro for Umbra Games. Thanks for watching.